Alright YouTube, so we are back, of course, to talk about some Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, here on the channel, normally, when we talk about the game, we are discussing news and info about the game, theories, just general discussions, whatever that might be. But every now and then we gotta do some stuff that isn't directly about the game itself, but obviously still pertains to Remake, and that's what we have today. That was a hell of an intro, what the fuck? Now what we have today, you might have already seen, this was revealed a couple days back, but what we have is the material Ultimania for Remake is actually getting an English printing that's gonna come out later this year, like at the end of the year in December. Now this is actually interesting for a couple reasons, namely because the Ultimanias, I don't think very often get English printings. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen or hasn't ever happened. You guys would know more about that than I ever would. But for example, with Remake, the actual just regular Ultimania that came out like last year, kind of around launch or so, like I'm pretty sure that's still only in Japanese. So it's very interesting to see them do an English printing of this. I don't know why it's coming out so late. Like the material Ultimania, I think came out, I don't know, was it later half of last year or something like that? So by the time this is going to come out in December of this year, it'll be like a year older or more or so. Also find it weird, like in general, like why don't they always have the Ultimanias be in English? Like I get that it's a hell of a task to translate the thing, especially with the regular Ultimania. I think that's like, if I'm not mistaken, like when I last heard, it was like 700 something pages. That is a bitch to translate from Japanese to English. So I can understand that, but still, like the majority of the Final Fantasy audience is going to be Japanese and English-speaking people. I would assume that's pretty safe to say, right? And as hard as that translation thing could be, like Square Enix could just get a small group of people together to do it, right? Just some random people. It ain't got to be anybody on the Square Enix dev team. Just some people that fluently speak Japanese and English, and just have them translate the book for you. Pay them. It ain't going to cost that much money for them to do that, and they're going to make millions in the process. Or it was done intentionally so that the English-speaking people will buy the Japanese version just for a collector's item, and then they're going to rebuy the English version as well, so they can actually goddamn read it. That's probably more so what it is. And the other really cool thing about this is, as somebody who covers Final Fantasy VII Remake, and as somebody who does not speak Japanese at all, I have to rely on other people like Audrey on Twitter for translations of things like the Ultimania and the Remake Ultimania and interviews and all that other shit, right? So something like this is pretty cool. Now, it's going to be, you know, a year old by the time this comes out, but I could still buy a copy of this and go through it, and I might find things that in there that I personally find interesting, because when you have somebody like Audrey doing translations on Twitter, and I appreciate the hell out of her work, obviously, she's only translating things that she would find interesting, right? It's to her discretion, or anybody that's translating anything, it's to their discretion. But if I buy a copy of this book and go through it, I can find so many other things potentially that I think are topic and video worthy that maybe they didn't think was worth translating or talking about publicly. Because with this channel, man, all the discussions and topics that we go over, man, we look at the smallest details and the biggest details. Even if we're looking too much into the goddamn game with the smallest details, we talk about kind of everything, you know, across the board when it comes to Remake, or FF7 in general. That's part of why this English translation of the material Ultimania has me pretty excited. And I hope going forward they do it with more of the Remake stuff. Like, if they're going to make an Ultimania for Remake Part 2, like, make it in English as well. Don't just do the Japanese version. Like, and if they do a material Ultimania for Remake Part 2, make that in English as well. Like, we're already a few minutes into this video, and I haven't even covered, like, the actual information about this damn thing. So it's coming out specifically on December 7th, 2021. The book consists of 336 pages. If you want to buy a hardcover, it'll be $40. But if you want to buy it digitally, it'll be $26. But if you're going to get it digitally, then just wait for it to be online for free. Like, don't buy this digitally for $27. That's just ridiculous. I'm just trying to save y'all some money. If you don't want a physical copy of this, there'll be a PDF scan of the English version of this, probably within a couple of days or weeks or something after it comes out. Obviously, you can get the book from the actual Square Enix store, Amazon, or Barnes & Noble. Now, I'm not sure if you can pre-order it on Amazon yet. I've not seen an option on their page, but you can pre-order it on Barnes & Noble's website and on the actual Square Enix store. Now, I've said plenty of times on this channel that I'm not really a collector when it comes to, like, video game memorabilia. I don't often buy items, but this is something a bit different. It's a collector's item, but it's also something I could use to potentially make videos with, and it is kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to, like, sit down and actually read this instead of, you know, being at somebody's discretion again, like them only talking about, you know, what they want to talk about from the book. I can sit down and read the whole damn thing. I put it in the bathroom right next to the toilet. I will read every bit of that damn thing in the span of probably a couple days. Now, that being said, I probably won't pre-order it just yet because I'm bad about buying stuff online. Like, I hate having to wait for shit. I might wait till, like, later this year at some point when it's a little bit closer to the date, December 7th, and actually buy it then. That way I don't gotta wait too goddamn long. So if I buy it now, it's all I'm thinking about. I'll be like, I spent $40 on this goddamn book and I have to wait 8 months. Fuck that shit. Anyways, but that's pretty much the video. This itself is pretty exciting in that I hope they continue doing this going forward with other books and Ultimanias and things when it comes to FF7 Remake and even just the Final Fantasy games in general. So let me know in the comments, my dudes, is this something y'all plan on getting at some point? And did you get the original material Ultimania in Japanese and the regular Ultimania if you don't speak Japanese? Obviously, if you speak Japanese, it makes sense that you'd buy it because you can read the damn thing. But as a non-Japanese speaker, is that something you previously have bought? Other dudes, that's the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys aren't new. What's up, more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter, dashingdavidbusiness. I'm on Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description. And in the outro. Later, guys.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain or leave it like Cobain.